Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast. Oh, I am I'm kind of beat up. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of things that are messed up with your old pal EZ. From my brain to my pee-pee to my knee. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. My brain and my pee-pee and my knee are experiencing issues. I called the doc. I went on the thing and made an appointment, and it isn't until tomorrow at 12:30 for the old knee. But I'm like, oh, God. So last night, bedtime, that's when they hit. That's when the panic attacks hit. You know, it's all about, well, clearly, this whole household is going to implode like an Ocean Gate sub. Everything is going to, I'm walking on thin ice, and everything is going to collapse. Everything we've worked for, and you're like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, you know, what this all boils down to with me is I'm always concerned that I'm going to run out of money. It's always about money. Always, always, always. And it's never come true. Never once have I lost sleep about this. And then it eventually, you know, works out where I'm homeless. And I swear to God, it's so not realistic. But it's a regular thing. So I took the damn emergency pill. Now, if you take the emergency pill, it's a side effect. It's deep sleep. Deep sleep. I think it's the type of pill that, you know, like the effect you get on your body when you take Benadryl. That's kind of where my brain is when I take the emergency pill. So I was knocked out. I wake up and I got to pee. All right. I take the pee, but next problem. I have to pee bad, but hardly, it's like dribble. I'm having a prostate issue. Again, there's a prostate flare-up. So what the fuck? So it just feels like I haven't really gone to the bathroom. But I did, but not that much. It's because there's still plenty of pee there that needs to leave. So I'm standing there like an asshole at 4:30 in the morning with my ding dong in my hand trying to go pee. I can't go pee. Happened again this morning when I woke up. I took the medicine. There's that Flomax. I take that. All right. Okay, that problem solved. Then there's the knee, which, boy, okay, my knee has felt a little strange, but nothing really that big of a deal since last week when it hit, when the real problem occurred, and then the intense pain just hit me, and I think something's definitely wrong. I was talking with show member, audience member, Dr. Jim Barry, who I'm not sure what he's a doctor of. That's what Jackie said to me, because Dr. Jim, I think, lives in South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the Carolinas. And based on me talking about it, he wrote, "Hey, Big Fraud, hate to tell you this, but it sounds like your old knee might be getting arthritic. Based upon your description on the podcast on Thursday, sounds like you may be having some cartilage issues. If it's still bothering you, I'd lay off the ice now and use moist heat for 20 minutes at a time. Might want to have an orthopedic check it out as well. They'll get an x-ray, then probably want to get an MRI because orthos love MRIs. I talked to Jackie about this. She goes, what's the doctor? I go, well, it says right here, Dr. Jim, ATC. He's also a member of SCAT, which sounds weird, NREMT, and ITAT. She goes, what are those? I go, I have no idea. I asked him, is it okay for me to walk on even though it's a little tender. I want to get some exercise. He says, yes, as long as you can tolerate it. So I was able to tolerate it. I mean, it was uncomfortable, but as I walked, the pain kind of left. You know how that is. You kind of get warmed up. So the goal was to close my Move Ring. You know, the thing on the old iPhone. I mean, most of you who have Apple Watches. You have this on there. I haven't yet purchased an Apple Watch, so I have to use this phone. So I crushed it Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, almost just over 19,000 steps, 8.5 miles walking. I didn't walk 8.5 miles. I walked probably like 4, and then I had to mow the lawn, and then the steps I took during the day. So I was proud of that. A little uncomfortable, though. At the end of the day, I had to really ice that thing down. Yesterday, same deal. Went for a walk with my Pooh Bear, 13,865 steps, 6.36 miles. This is all good because ultimately I got to drop 30 like we've been talking about. And I am now coming to grips with the fact that running may not be in my foreseeable future. The only way I can be able to run again is if this knee is recovered. And I am at the starting point of that. Dr. Jim, who my daughter disputes his credentials, I do not. I describe my symptoms to him as a bit of swelling, slight deformity, range of motion limitations, and cracking noises. He says, sounds like you've got a cartilage issue. Time to go see the ortho. I wrote, on my way. In fact, on Saturday, I got done with my walk. And then, believe it or not, with something I don't do, I got in the fucking pool and was using a kickboard to do a little hydrotherapy for like 10 minutes. That felt great. The walk wasn't pain-free, but it wasn't too much. I wasn't limping, but I could tell there was something wrong in there. He says, just do me a favor and don't be a stubborn old man. Go get that thing looked at. I'm thinking you may have a torn meniscus that is flopping around in there. That would also explain the popping and clicking. I also noticed you mentioned that you thought you may be missing an ACL. That could be something to do with it as well, but I'm kind of suspicious of that because if you had completely torn ACL, you would have had issues long before now, especially with all of your past triathlons and road races. So he's not thinking that, well, we'll see. We'll see. Floppy meniscus is no good, says Tyler. I am, so I'm going to go to the doc on Tuesday, and then, he's going to take one look and, all right, now you got to go see an ortho. And we begin this game. Medicine in the United States. Tyler says Jackie is an expert on knees with her knee surgery obsession. Oh, she's addicted to getting knee surgeries. 7. Matt B., who I just married, means well, but it's incredibly insulting for him to write, no free beer and hot wings show this week. Getting a good dose of Zane this week, Dane. Zane this week. So what you're saying there is you prefer that over me. That's what you're saying there. Wouldn't it be better if he just said, hey, this is fun, instead of, well, since free beer and hot wings aren't here, I guess I'll check you out. How the fuck do you do that? I mean, wouldn't it be just nice to say, hey, man, show sounded good? Ryan indicates that Matt doesn't know how to load a dishwasher, so he needs a show like that. I'm so shocked that you find that show entertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, I did listen to former Free Beer and Hot Wings Show cast member Justin, his new show, and I have plenty of thoughts, as do some of you. I heard from a couple audience members about it, and I'm still thinking about that. About how I want to approach this. I will approach it. I will end up reviewing it, but I'm chewing on it. I listened to the entire thing beginning to end. There's a lot there to process. One of the things that is interesting about him is he is saying, all right, I'm going to say some real juicy things about what happened at my old job, because he was let go from radio station in Chicago. He goes, I'm saving it for my Patreon, though. That's where I can say whatever I want. Well, I was talking with Radio Voice Linda. That's not exactly true. You can't just go on there and say, yeah, he's a rapist, or yeah, you can still get sued. I didn't work with him there. I've never worked with him. There was some discussion from audience members about some person known as DVT, Dr. Victor Tarantula, DVT, being an adversary of Justin when he was on his show there. I'm like, well, I don't know who that is. But I thought maybe it has something to do with my pal Troy, who I've known Troy since he drove in a beat-up Datsun across Minnesota and through Michigan to work with me at Z93. He was 20 years old at the time. I was a couple years older. His pal, my pal, Rick Church, was the program director of Z93. Troy was chasing the dream. Troy was offered a job, part-timer. Awesome. Worked his way up the ladder. Eventually, graduated from Z93 and made stops in various radio stations across the United States, including markets like Miami, Nashville, Detroit, and then eventually being the vice president of all of rock programming at Cumulus, the second biggest media company in the country. Troy was a big swinging dick. I'm not saying he's a dick. I'm saying he was some serious clout. The dude really, really crushed it in his career. He's out of the game right now. He owns a nightclub in Nashville. I find out that DVT is the nickname for Troy. Deep Voice Troy is what they would call him. Well, I guess Justin hates that dude. And so I reach out to Troy. I go, dude, this guy's ready to spill some tea on you. And his response was fucking great. He goes, the lion doesn't care what the little sheep have to say. He goes, I'm not even concerned. Oh, God, that's great. So, yeah, I have, and look, I understand that there are people here who actually like him and may like what he's doing. But I'm telling you, and in fact, there was one review I saw that from Justin of his show that said, yeah, it wasn't that bad. And you need to know, it is that bad. It absolutely is that bad. And you need to let go of the thought that it is anything but bad. It's terrible. I just said, I'm not going to say anything about it. Look, here I am. It's terrible. I can't help myself. I mean, but it isn't fair for me to throw that out there one show in, but the mistakes that he's making are hard. It's hard to unring that bell. And I think the biggest problem that he's doing is he's trying to do radio on a podcast. He's over editing it. It's almost like he's reading a script. It's too polished. Every breath is eliminated. Every or is eliminated. The things he says and how they say them ring hollow. It just sounds not very authentic. From his stories to how he feels about people, nobody's buying it. It didn't. And then he has this crazy laugh that he does, because what he's saying isn't really funny. But even if it was funny, don't laugh. You can't sit there and crack up at your own shit. That's a horrible thing to do. It's awkward as fuck. You can't sit there and crack up at what the fuck you're saying. Jesus. All right. Now I'm reviewing it. I might as well play the whole fucking thing. Ryan says, I mean, if you watch episode 1 of the Eric Zane Show podcast, what would happen? Oh, no, I would hate that. But all things considered, he may have to. I mean, I would be willing to hear it again and see if he's changed it up a little bit. You know, I mean, it just sounded so fucked up to me. All right. Chris says, sounds like a Who Are These Zanes episode. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. All right. So off to the dock tomorrow. I'm liking that. I'm excited to hear. I'm excited about my future. Yesterday, it was family dinner. And for the second time, 10 out of 10 for your old pal EZ from the natives here at the Eric Zane Show podcast household. When it comes to my effort at making Asian food, we went with the sweet and sour chicken. And fuck. Oh, my God. Oh, the fried rice. I just want to talk for a second about the fried rice. First of all, I learned some tricks just by reading. The way I do it is I never just go and get the recipe and just do it without studying it. I have to sit down for significant time, read it all, process it, and then figure out the right way that I can execute. And on the fried rice, it was talking about whether you're using regular rice or jasmine rice. Now, jasmine rice does not require as much water. I didn't know that. There's a big difference. Jasmine rice, if you use too much water, the rice gets soggy. You have to have it fluffy. And I've made this mistake before when making fried rice. You can't make the rice and then immediately fry it. You have to take the rice and, first of all, it has to fall to room temperature. And then you got to put it in the fridge. It has to be chilled. The rice has to be chilled. If your rice is not chilled when you do the fried rice, you run a terrible risk that the whole thing could be fucked up. If you're in a pinch, you can take the rice, make the rice, and then lay it like on a piece of parchment paper or even paper towel on a cookie sheet or more than one cookie sheet, and then chill it for 30 minutes if you're pressed for time. But I had plenty of time. So I made that rice and chilled that shit. Now, when it comes to the veggies, you can't just go fried rice and a little bit of egg, okay, and your sesame oil, which, by the way, I went with the black sesame oil because they didn't have toasted sesame oil, and I thought I was fucked. There is a difference. One tastes like toasted sesame. It's a better flavor, but I went with the black sesame oil, and it was fine. Isn't that the worst when you go to a store, you're fired up about a recipe, and the one thing that they don't have? Fuck. So I added the vegetables too. So what I have is I chopped up carrot, and then I've got this fucking really cool chopper. You put the thing in there, you push it down, and then they become cubes. Little teeny tiny, like the kind you buy in the frozen vegetable section. Perfect. Fresh carrots. I had frozen peas. I had onions, which I put in my chopper. And I had my green onions. Saute, push the vegetables off to the side. More butter. Drop in the rice. Add the soy. You're supposed to use oyster sauce. Of course, they didn't have oyster sauce. A decent substitute is fish sauce. Add the fish sauce. Stir, blendy. Fry. Mix in the veggies. Fry. Stirring every 20, 25 seconds. Remove from heat. Sesame oil. Egg. I'd already fried the egg. 2 eggs. What else did I put in there? The green onions. And then it's just fantastic. Bowl it. Bowl up the fried rice. Oven set at 170 to keep it hot. Put a tin foil over the bowl in the oven. Awesome. While I finish up the tempura chicken in my wok. I actually use a wok. Oh my God. I made my own sweet and sour sauce. Pineapple juice. Water. Like you open up a can of pineapple. Juice goes in there. Water. White vinegar. That's the sour portion of the sweet and sour. Sugar. Cornstarch and water. Blend in there to thicken it up. Food coloring. Added by food coloring. A few pinches of that. Make it orange. Whip it up. Now, when you plate all this shit on a presentation plate, you go green pepper and the pineapple chunks that were in that can of pineapple. Lay it all out flat. Put your chicken on top. Take your sauce. Pour it on top of that. Serve next to the fried rice. Voila. Genius. Your old pal EZ does it again. I'm including these recipes to the Eric Zane Show podcast. Slaughter the Turks. Sweet and sour chicken. And the Eric Zane Show podcast. Slaughter the Turks. Fried rice recipes. So fantastic. Take your time. Read. When you go to the store and it ever says, hey, we're all out of this, immediately search substitute for. That's how I did it in the store. That's how I went with fish sauce instead of oyster sauce. I'd never heard of anything. Fish sauce, I don't know. I don't use this shit. I so rarely make Asian food. But, of course, it was amazing. Everybody loved it. I'm the best. All right. Big fat cooking, a big fraud production. Amanda says too much work. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. I love it. Big fraud cooking show in EZSP production. Who Cut the Cheese says, how's the dieting going? That's funny you ask that. Because you might think when I'm making sweet and sour chicken, oh, God, he pigged out. He ate like an asshole. No, I did not overeat this weekend. I did not do that once. And I actually enjoyed my eating. I didn't overindulge in any way. I avoided the sweets. Everybody pigged out on Klondike bars and ice cream, both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I guess all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I didn't have anything. I actually felt good about how I ate. So I'm not depriving myself of what everybody else is eating. I'm just eating substantially less. Which, even if I do that, substantial less eating from where I was, which was just a fucking pig out fest. This is my way of kind of reeling in this, what I think is a food addiction, and getting it in check to some degree. I'm sure you're wondering where the hell Darla is. With Mom, because she got into a fight with Bruce, who weird things are happening in that relationship because over the weekend, he got so sexually aroused, and this happens from time to time, despite the fact that he is neutered. So there's a whole series of hormones that he does not get flooded with. Despite that, the dog's ding-dong is supposed to be in, his ding-dong skin. And it was no longer in. It was so bad. I mean, he has a substantial little French bulldog pecker. And I was like, holy shit, that thing was ready to go. Very strange looking penis on a dog, too. I was like, what the fuck? God, put that away. That is so weird looking. And so he was completely riled up and ready to play the feud with Darla. And I was like, oh, boy. So I had to separate them to get it. And the thing is, it's so intense. It hurts him. It's like very uncomfortable for him. He can barely walk because of his boner. So I was like, all right, let's and if I'm not paying attention to him and things are getting out of hand, that can happen. And that did happen. I used to do that with Daisy all the time. Not that was happening today, but shit was going on. They're fighting. So I said, all right, Don, you got to help me. She is with him. So no Bruce as of right now. I'm sorry. No Darla as of right now. If you are enjoying the show on Facebook and Twitter, Facebook.com/Eric Zane fan page, or Twitter @Eric Zane Show, or on my YouTube channel, Eric Zane Show. I'm about to say goodbye to you. I appreciate you being here, but if you want the full show, it's on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live, or download the Twitch app, search Eric Zane Live, and off you go. If you ever want to just listen to the audio podcast, I am on all platforms that exist. Just search Eric Zane Show, even some that didn't even ask me. The iHeart thing, I spin a yarn and say, yes, I just signed a major multi-year deal with iHeart worth millions. You have to, when prior to working for them the second time, when I was doing this podcast, I never approved that iHeart could take the show. You have to check a box. Podbean, Spotify, and you check them. I never checked the iHeart box. They just took it. So I got fuck. Well, anyway, I'm on all of them. Eric Zane Show podcast. Download it. Subscribe to a channel or a platform of my podcast. That helps. So thank you so much. If you ever want to say hello, reach out. Eric@ericzaneshow.com on the Shoreliner Striping inbox. I can never get enough collaboration and hearing from people on email. So please reach out. I get lonely is what I'm saying. And of course, the Patreon, patreon.com/Eric Zane. That's a whole new world of programming. I put hours and hours of material up there every single week for you to check out. I put up more there than you would have the ability to listen to in a week. From the Lost Zane recordings, which is my old BBL shows, to, in fact, this week and next week, something to listen to while I'm away, which is full shows from years ago, even further back than the BBL days. The Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Who are these Zanes? Who are these freebeers? Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer Trivia. The Insane Asylum, my 2-hour music-driven radio show on Northern Michigan's Q100 is there. I make that available with no commercials. It's me playing rock radio DJ. All there for you on Patreon, and you can get it for free. This is the best part. Free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. P as in Paul, A-T as in Tom, R-E-O-N. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Try it for 7 days free. And if you like it, it'll just charge you at the end of the 7 days. If you don't like it, it is an easy process to cancel. No problem. According to the chat, Chris says portion control is huge. You are not kidding, Chris. Ryan says, thanks to you, EZ. I walked past Meyer Cold Chicken this weekend, BFZ. Struggled to not buy it. Hashtag Big Fat Show. Big Fat Zane. I like that. Big Fat Zane. That is a derivative, from Big Fraud Zane. Turn to an Audi from an innie. Talking about Chris losing weight, I guess. Maureen, same thing. Meyer Cold Chicken. Thought of EZ. And the thing is, despite the inflation changes, I think it's going down now, but I mean, even when it was super high, the chicken was not. It's like they forgot to raise the price on the chicken. It's incredibly underrated, the Meyer chicken. And the ease of which you can get it. They've just got the grab and go area. You don't need to wait on it. You can just grab a whole big tin full of thighs and drumsticks. My God. And the size of the pieces, because there's so much perfectly fried breading on it. It's, oh God, it's thick and delicious, seasoned incredibly. Incredibly. Underrated product there. Grocery store fried chicken. I love it. Holy shit. Okay. So for you folks on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, I am kicking you out. I'm kicking you out right now. Thank you so much for being here. You got to go to twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live to get the whole show. There you go. Off you go. Bye-bye.